maybe.
What happened?
All right, we're live. That's
Yes, we're live. Welcome to the Sharkbone Podcast. This is Pod Chatter number 13 coming at you. My name is Devin.
cool. And I'm Christopher.
And it has been too long since I've talked to you, Christopher. Why does that always happen?
You ditched me for Chris last time. That's not my fault.
That is your fault.
You know what? It's true. It was my fault because I was like, hey, I'm sick. And as anyone who's listening can probably tell that I'm still not 100%. So, yes, it's totally my fault that I fell ill. But it happens.
You weren't huffing enough essential oils to fight that infection off.
You know what? I honestly haven't been, which we diffuse oils every night before bed. I've been sniffing some Serenity the past few nights, On Guard before that, and then just some lavender and peppermint in the morning to try to clear everything out. But I'm just a stubborn old ox.
Well, you're sounding better than the last time we got together.
Yeah, I'm honestly afraid to release that recording to the wild because I sounded like such crap.
Well, what was that recording?
It was session 0 of the RPG Academy Network Shadow of the Demon Lord game that I'm running.
Hell yeah! So,
if I remember correctly, you were there, weren't you?
I was there because I am going to play in that game, and it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
I heard somewhere that there are butt frogs in Shadow of the Demon Lord. That probably came from the RPG Academy after they did their Symbarum episode or something like that.
I'm not familiar with butt frogs, but I am familiar with hateful defecation. It's an attack spell which causes you intense pain as you defecate all over yourself.
Yeah, that's it's going to be an interesting game. Luckily, I'm immune to that spell. My character is named Click Click, and I am a clockwork. So
every time I see your character's name, I just want to say Click Clack, and I think that you're going to become a gunslinger.
My plan is before I say something, I'm just going to go, all right. I'm going to do a click before I go, and I don't know if I'm actually going to do that because I'm probably going to have a hard time remembering that.
The game that I'm currently playing in, my character speaks about himself in the third person, and it's difficult to remember to say that Rook thinks this is a great idea.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, listeners, if you didn't already figure out that Shadow of the Demon Lord, as soon as we get it all done, which who knows when that's going to happen because we're still in the planning phases.
Right.
We are going to release it as an AP, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yes. And the plan is that, because for those of you who haven't quite figured it out yet, in Shadow of the Demon Lord, it's kind of like in D&D, where 4th edition, where you had heroic, paragon, and epic tiers. So they've got 3 different tiers of play, and I'm going to be running 3 distinct but connected story arcs in each tier. So once I finish a tier, then we'll start releasing it, because I would hate to start releasing something for you guys to listen to and then miss a week or have something happen and the story doesn't get finished, because I don't want to leave y'all hanging. We're going to finish, and we're going to finish strong. Hopefully 3 times.
More is always better.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. I'm excited for that. As soon as that game gets going, I anticipate much fun will be had.
Indeed.
And I do also have an announcement for today. We got a couple new reviews over on iTunes.
Sweet.
I know, it's fantastic. The first one is titled Awesome Show, 5 stars by Chris Burlew. You might remember him because he was on last episode with me. And he says, Devin and Christopher do a great job pulling people into their conversations. The passion for gaming comes through, and you can hear how they make guests feel comfortable. We need more shows like this. Wow, that's actually really fantastic. I didn't read that review before I read it on air. I guess I just scanned it and didn't register what he was actually saying, but that's actually really cool. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Sorry I didn't get to meet you last time.
Oh, he'll be back on. He and I had a lot of fun. He had some great stuff for the episode for the district, so we're definitely having him back on.
Okay.
The next one is also 5 stars, titled "Great Setting Fodder" by Afriel6. And Afriel simply says, "Love the Sandbox episodes!" Exclamation point.
Sweet.
I know, it's fantastic.
At least we're doing something right.
We're doing one thing right at least, and that's a good thing. I'm glad to see that people are enjoying the Sandbox. That was my concept for the rebirth of Sharkbone, and so I'm glad to see that it's being received and is being useful for people. And we pause as I drink some water because
it's okay.
Well,
I wasn't sure if you had one more review to read or not.
Nope.
Because I was about to fill in the gap silence, but I decided that I should wait to make sure we were done with that topic before moving on to the next.
All right. Let's have another gap that you can fill.
Alrighty. Yesterday, I did a guest appearance on the Game Master's Journey podcast. If anybody listens to it, by Lex Starwalker, we revisited the social contract, and
Fun.
Yeah, he actually listened to the episode the day before we recorded to make sure that we didn't just go over the same ground. And that should be going live on Tuesday. So if you're watching us live, his episode will be dropping in just a few days. If you're listening to this on your podcast feed, go check it out. It's already live. Game Master's Journey or StarWalkerStudios.com/Game Master's Journey. I'm sure we'll have a link in the show notes.
Yes, most definitely, most assuredly. As long as I remember to schedule this episode on time, unlike last episode. Last episode, I was getting in bed 11:30. I was like, "Oh, it's been such a long day. I'm so tired." And then I'm starting to fall asleep. I'm like, "Oh crap!
Oops,
I didn't schedule the episode."
Well, at least the episode was edited and ready to go, right?
Oh, yes. It was edited. It was ready to go. I just had forgotten to upload it, make the blog post, and get everything scheduled. So it only took me 10 minutes to set that up.
Yeah, but when you're already falling asleep in bed and something like that happens, it sucks.
Yes, it does. So I don't know that we have had an episode come out since Openly Gamer Theater joined the network.
I believe you are correct.
Or at least we haven't recorded one since that became public. But yes, the RPG Academy Network, which we are proud members of.
Woo!
There's our plug for this episode. So Caleb's not going to hunt me down.
Almost as proud to be a member of the RPG Academy Network as we are proud to be Stargate fans.
Hell yeah. I think it's Stargate first, Shark Boners second
RPG
and then
Academy.
RPG Academy.
It's pretty close third.
Yeah, it's tied for second, I would say.
Yeah, because we're part of the RPG Academy, so technically a portion of the RPG Academy in second place, plus the RPG Academy Network being third place, kind of bumps it up a little bit to like 2.3 maybe.
Yeah, it's all self-love.
Yep. If there's one thing that you can count on, it's that I will pleasure myself. There's your Iron Man 2 reference for the night, folks.
It's a wonderful reference. And so true. So what was I saying? I forgot. Oh, yeah. Openly Gamer Theater. Fantastic news. It's an offshoot of Gamers Table, which is a fantastic podcast. If you haven't listened to it, it's one of my favorites. You must go. Openly. Yes, right now.
But I'm podcasting right now.
That could present a problem.
Yeah, because whatever's happening now is happening now.
You mean now?
Now.
But when will then be now?
Soon.
You just missed it. Oh, I love that scene. Spaceballs, people. If you haven't seen Spaceballs, I feel for you. You must see it. But
Unless you don't
yes,
know what a VHS is or a video store, then you might not get half the references in the movie.
I'm excited for Spaceballs too.
The search for more money.
It's gonna happen. It's fantastic. I saw pictures of Spaceballs 2 photos,
Oh, nice.
posters in a subway in New York, I think it was.
Sweet.
But it was Helmet, and it
Dark
was all
helmets.
crumpled and messed up like Darth Vader in Force Awakens.
Obviously.
And I was like, yes, yes, they're still doing it. That's amazing. So anyway, we keep trying to talk about Openly Gamer and we keep stopping, but Openly Gamer is going to have some great actual plays, audio dramas, and role play dramas. Some stuff is supposed to be coming out by the end of this month, I believe. They're supposed to have one story coming out. I don't actually know. I haven't spoken personally with Eric, but we got to have him on the show. Now that he's part of the network, he can't get out of it.
Yeah, we have to start inviting all of our network peeps on the show just to share the love and introduce our audience to them if they don't listen already.
I already try, and we have had quite a few of them on, just not all of them.
Not yet.
In other news, I have finally subscribed to City of Brass.
Yes. About time. Did you use the Catacon 16 code for 10% off of your subscription price?
I certainly did. So my my yearly subscription fee was reduced by a little bit, and some of that money was thrown into the pot for a Catacon. That's going to be fantastic. You know what really pushed me over the edge was creating my character for your Shadow of the Demon Lord game, because at first I was like, "Fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. There's so much here," and I watched this tutorial video and I still don't understand what the different parts are. But actually doing it really helped me, because you were like, "You have this for your character. I use this little thing to do that." And I was like, "Oh yeah,
that makes sense."
Yeah. And so I also put my Aberrant character on City of Brass, and I used that this past Monday. And oh my god, I love having the City of Brass character sheet on my phone.
Isn't it nice?
And it's so nice. It's so easy. You just scroll up and down. You need to edit something. It's one click, enter a number, enter, you're done.
Exactly.
I'm
so
like,
nice.
Yeah, I can work with this. I can work with this.
It keeps everything in one place. The only downside to it is that you have to have a network connection.
Yeah,
but who doesn't nowadays, right?
Yeah, I only don't by my son's school. For some reason, there is no network service down there, so that sucks balls.
Yep.
Although I don't know why that expression is negative, because sucking balls isn't a negative thing.
Unless you're being teabagged.
That's true. If there's consent involved, then it's not a bad thing.
Exactly. Remember, folks, they can't consent if they're asleep.
Exactly.
Or if they're dead on a game.
Yeah.
Then teabagging is without consent.
Yes. I have a funny story, but now that I've gotten older, it's less funny about teabagging. Some guy got teabagged in basic.
Jeez.
And his last name was Aguilar, so after that we started calling him T-Baguilar.
Poor guy.
I know. It was horrible. Anyways, let's get into tonight's episode. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the insanity of the new Shiny. Now, if you are just joining us, our Pod Chatter episodes are where Christopher and I sit down and we talk about something nerd-worthy, something fun. It can have to do with gaming. It doesn't have to. We've talked about Stargate. We've talked about all sorts of weird stuff. Tonight, we're talking about the insanity of the new Shiny. I'm going to be focusing it on tabletop RPGs because that's where my love of the new Shiny goes. Mostly. I don't know about you.
I don't really have any local friends. All my friends are people online, so board games are very difficult to play if they're not either single player or two player, because you know my wife plays too, but some of the games are a bit too complex for her but some games are really fun. Like if you guys have ever, anyway, I'm sorry, I was gonna go on a tangent about all the games we got for the holidays, but
Well, that's what we do, man. We tangent.
we tangent. Yep, Sharkbone Tangential Podcast.
Oh yeah, that's what we should have called this. Tangents galore.
Indeed.
So yeah, the insanity of the new shiny. What I want to talk about is we are always distracted by the new thing on the horizon. You know, you sit down and you're like, all right, I'm getting started to a game, and what does your gamer buddy say? He turns to you and says, oh my God, have you seen the oh God, why am I spacing the name? The Seventh Sea Kickstarter.
It's only at $750,000 or something insane like that.
Yeah, it is now the biggest tabletop RPG Kickstarter ever.
And they've still got a dozen days left.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I expect them to hit $1 million. I expect that, and I don't know what they're gonna do, but hey, the new shiny.
Yep.
So, why is this a problem? At first, why do you think it's a problem?
The biggest problem is that you're in the middle of a current game. You're in the middle of a story. You're, have this grand plan for 20 more months of gaming for this game that you're playing. And then the new shiny comes along. Like, oh, we should totally play this. And then support and want to play your current game starts to wane as people are like, oh, that's awesome. That's badass. We got to do this now.
Yeah.
And it kind of steals the thunder of the current game that's being played. And it's kind of a dick move by the players because it's inadvertently saying, GM, your game isn't as awesome as this game, so why are you even running?
Yeah. And the problem with that is that when you finally get around to that thing that distracts you from what you're currently doing, it almost always does not measure up to what you thought it was going to be.
Sometimes it does.
I guess sometimes.
Yeah, but you're right. The hype usually leads to a massive disappointment.
Yeah. I am just so fed up with everyone being like, oh, I want to play this game. Oh, I want to play this game too. This is a brand new game. Oh my God, it does this so well. It's going to be fantastic. But the thing is, I do it too, mostly to myself because I try and stay focused on the games I'm playing, but then I'll be like wanting something new to read. And I'm like, I've already read the rule book for the current game I'm playing 3 times. What else do I want to read?
Well, obviously you want to read it a 4th time and then you move on to the next book.
Yes.
4 is a magical number.
I'm about to start reading the Burning Wheel book for the 4th time. I'm coming back around to that one. That's going to be my new shiny here soon, or old shiny. Not sure.
Have you ever actually run it yet for a group of people?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
I
old
ran
shiny.
it once, and I failed. But it's a complex game, and it's different in the way it does stuff, and so I fucked up. I was calling for rolls when I shouldn't have. I was having them use the wrong skills.
We've all been there and done that, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and so the new shiny is I want a chance to redeem myself, but my group has already said, no, we've tried it. We don't want it. This isn't the game for us. And so I'm like, come on, it's a fantastic game. I want to play it. I want to run it. Anything. But no.
That's sad.
Yeah. And talking about new shinies, playing games that you have, but that you love.
Mm-hmm.
Starting a new campaign. Right now, I'm running a Smallville game, play by post. And I've already reached the point where I'm like, all right, yeah, that's cruising along.
What's
I want to
next?
play another game.
Yeah. Some of that actually can be alleviated if you have 2 or more GMs in the group. Because when I was playing Dresden Files a number of years ago, I came in as a player, And then after chatting with the GM for a while and getting to be friends, he's like, yeah, I really want to play, but no one around here GM's. Like, dude, I'll GM. So we were switching off back and forth. It was still the same game, but so just take this idea and then swap it out. Instead of saying, running the same game, just run different games. So I'll run a story arc, which is 4 or 5 sessions, something short and sweet. And then after that, you run your story arc for 4 or 5 sessions. Then you can cycle through game systems like that. Be like, hey, there's this new game. It's like, great, put it on the list. We have 2 more sessions of this one, and then we'll move on to that one, do a one-shot, come back to this one, and if we like that one again, we'll put it in the rotation.
Right.
So that is my number one suggestion for how to alleviate the shiny is have something in your gaming group where that if something comes up and a new game shows up, that everyone's going to be willing to do a one-shot, but then you're coming back to the current game to finish up the story. And then at the end of the story, whatever happens, happens.
It reminds me, when I first started my online group, we had a Dropbox folder where we would throw in all of the necessary documents for the games we were playing. Mm-hmm. And one of the documents that I put in there was just a text file. It was games we want to play. And so everyone would write their own little section about what games they were excited to play, what games they were excited to GM. And then you would comment on everyone else's. I mean, it was a text file. Talk about low tech.
Hey, Dropbox, that's high tech, man.
Well, yeah, Dropbox. But it was basically just an old style bulletin board. I mean, it could have been. It probably would have been more organized had it been a bulletin board. But that actually worked pretty well for us because then we didn't have to always talk about the new shiny or all the different games we wanted to play during the session because we were already kind of doing that offline. And I think this has several years ago, so I don't remember all the details, but I think
just make it up. No one knows any better.
Well, I know at least one person that gamed with me back then listens to the show. Maybe a couple others. I'm not sure. But yeah, having a written list or some other forum where you can discuss that kind of stuff will keep that discussion out of the game, out of the game space, because having that kind of discussion in the game space will kill a game faster than anything else.
Yes. And Dropbox with a text file is a great low-tech solution. If you guys have, someone has a web page or a website and, they self-host a forum or City of Brass, technically not yet, but Lucas is working on letting everybody who has a campaign running, getting their own private section of Symposium.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what is it? Obsidian Portal, if you pay for the subscription there, you get forums. Or, if you guys are just doing a play by forum, you can make your own on over on Gamers Plane. You can just make a post in the out of character section saying, hey, discuss new shiny here or what have you. So there's plenty of options out there for bringing the discussion away from the table.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, even just an email list where everyone's, reply all and sending to everybody will also work. But keeping it away from the gaming table is a great idea for avoiding that wrecking your current game.
I have a dilemma right now about a new shiny, and it's related to role-playing games, but it's not an actual role-playing game.
Okay.
My Smallville play-by-post that I'm running right now is over on a website called rolls.org, ROLZ.org. And we started using them during our live sessions because it has a dice room. It has a room where you can log into and everyone rolls digital dice and it updates live so everyone can see it. And because I have some people who aren't so well versed in current technology, they were like, we don't want to learn anything else, but we want to play this play-by-post game. So I was like, all right, we'll try putting it in rolls. So we did, and it works, but it doesn't work as well as I want. The dice room is fantastic. I love it for a live group.
Hmm.
But as far as the forum functionality goes, it leaves some things to be desired. So I every morning I wake up, and while I'm going about my morning routine, I update the game. And every time I do, I'm like, oh man, I should totally move this over to Gamers Plane.
You
Gamers
should.
Plane would be so much better. But I don't want to go to them and say, hey guys, let's change forums. Because I know they're going to be like, no, why?
And then
Why?
you explain why, and you show them some screenshots of how awesome Gamers Plane is. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
So Gamers Plane is my new shiny right now. And it's been on my mind so much that I actually went into our network Slack group and I said, hey guys, let's do a play-by-post on Gamers Plane.
Yep,
And I
I
think it's
did see
actually really
that conversation.
you should join us. It's going to be fun.
Maybe. It depends on what game you guys are playing.
I think we're leaning into Cyberpunk Savage Worlds.
Possibly. I mean, I have to spend all my energy making sure the game I'm running for you guys is, I got to bring my A game because I've got some minor celebrities in there.
Minor celebrity? No, you don't. There are no minor celebrities in there.
Well, I mean, there's you, and there's Caleb, and Kevin, and Lucas, and William. At least one of those five is a minor celebrity in my opinion. I can tell you which one. It might
Oh
or might
yeah,
not be the gentleman who used to live in the Cayman Islands and invited me to go scuba diving in his backyard.
yeah. That would be pretty up there. That would be pretty up. That'd be a new shiny.
Yep. Well, I've been scuba diving for the past 15 or so years, so it's not really new.
Yeah. I had a chance to scuba once in our junior high school pool when I was in 7th grade. And it was fun, but I had a panic moment right there at the beginning. It was really weird because I was buddying up with one of my friends there, and it was my turn. So I put the tank on my back, and I got the regulator in my mouth, and I was all ready. And so I started going under the water, and I was in the deep end. So I'm pushing the water up so that I go down, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, I'm under the water. I'm breathing. And I start going, so I rocket up to the thing, rip the regulator in my mouth, and I'm just gasping for air. And then I'm like, okay, don't be a jackass, Devin. You can do this. Pop it back in. And I went back down to the bottom. I was like, yeah, this is pretty awesome.
It takes a while to get used to, especially with hearing yourself breathe.
Yeah, that was kind of freaky.
Yep, understandable.
So, yeah, underwater campaigns. That's a shiny.
It is, especially forgetting who it is, but there's a gamer who blogs about and has put out some books about underwater adventures because he's like a marine biologist or something.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on several of the DM's block episodes.
Oh, cool.
I can't remember his name because I wasn't expecting to talk about underwater adventures today. But
who expects any of the topics that come up in a pod chatter?
The folks who vote on the topic.
Well, yeah, they might expect something, but I don't know that they actually get what they vote on.
That's true. But back to new shiny. Sometimes new shinies are great for reinvigorating ideas, especially if the new shiny is like a source book for the current game you're playing.
Oh yes.
Like if people out there playing D&D and in what is it, a month or two, the Curse of Strahd's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And the GM's like, hey, this is a really awesome scenario. We should totally play it. And the player's like, yeah, let's do it. It's like, okay, your characters wake up and they're surrounded by this dark purple mist with lightning shooting through it. And it starts getting brighter and brighter like an oncoming train. And then you can't see anything. And all of a sudden you're in free fall and you start breaking through some branches, and you land in this empty field with a few sparse trees, and it's all dead looking and run down and dilapidated. You've just been transported into Ravenloft. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom. Yeah, I've never actually read or ran anything in Ravenloft, but hearing about the Curse of Strahd, I'm tempted to pick up the books. I won't run them in 5th Ed because I'm not really interested in 5e.
You're a 3-5 guy.
I am.
And we still accept you.
That's good. I may be a little slow.
Maybe one of these days you'll try out the new shiny 4th edition.
Oh, hell no. I actually sat down for a game of 4th edition once, I think, and I didn't understand anything. I was probably being a little obstinate, but I still didn't understand anything.
You have a habit of doing that sometimes, yeah.
I do? Oh, actually, yeah, I do. It's gotten worse lately, which sucks. I find myself like I'm really excited about Shadowrun. Shadowrun is one of my shinies that I need to get to eventually someday.
Well, as soon as they put it in a system that you can actually remember 70% of the rules.
Well, if you play it enough, you'll get it. I'm sure of it.
I don't want to play it that often.
I don't know. I really like some rules crunch. As long as it's fun to deal with, I think it would be fantastic. Which is part of the reason why I like Burning Wheels so much. Is that there's always something fiddly to fiddle with. Because if things are fiddly, you usually fiddle with them.
Right. Especially if you're down in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, line dance.
Bet a fiddle of gold against your soul that says I'm better than you.
I wouldn't doubt
it. That's a country and western song reference, y'all. Devil went down to Georgia.
He said y'all.
I did. I'm in Texas, y'all.
Yeah, I was born in Texas and I had a drawl for many years, and then it went away.
I was born in Texas. Moved up to Michigan, and my daycare teacher thought I had a speech impediment until my parents told them, no, we're from Texas.
That's funny. At least I moved from Texas to Oklahoma, so I'm sure me speaking that way wasn't that strange.
Yeah,
but it was funny.
I went from deep south to Midwest. You can't get much weirder than that.
My best childhood friend, we left Texas when I was like 5 or 6, and from that point on, I never saw him again until I was 19. And then I met him again, and I was like, "Hey, you're so and so, right?" And he's like, "And you must be Devin Kelly." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe I would have sounded like that."
Nice.
It was funny.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for laughing at him, but it was still funny.
And speaking of deep in the heart of Texas, maybe we should rodeo wrangle this topic back to the task at hand.
I don't think we can.
Probably
not. I
not.
don't think we can.
We're horrible people.
Yeah. What are your new shinies? What are the things that glimmer and glint in your periphery that you want to reach out and grab?
Well, actually, Shadow of the Demon Lord is a new shiny, and I'm finally getting a chance to run it for realsies.
Yes.
I've run it once since it came out, and that was levels 0 through 4, and that was kind of a training wheels game.
Mm-hmm.
My players knew it was just enough sessions and levels to figure out what we were doing.
Right.
So when I actually ran it for realsies, that I would know what was going on and have a better grasp of everything. And as longtime listeners know, my favorite game is Fate, but right now I'm spending more time with Shadow of the Demon Lord because it's a new shiny. It's something new, it's different, and it's enough of the D20 that we're familiar with, but different enough that it's piquing my interest.
Right.
And also, I really hate to say it, but 5th edition is also turning into a new shiny for me.
Really?
Well, I'm helping Randy to develop a fifth edition SRD website. He's the guy who does the Fate SRD, so we know it's going to be amazing when it's done.
Cool.
And so I'm helping convert the SRD from the PDF into Markdown files, which then can be rendered into HTML format for the website. And so I'm going through, class by class, item by item, um, insanity table by insanity table. And I'm reading the game and I'm like, I'm reading this so damn much. I have to play it just because it's kind of one of those things that I read. The only time I read a game system that much is when I really want to run it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of Pavlovian for me that I've read it so many times that my brain's tricked into thinking that I really want to run it or really want to play it.
Well, you'll have to take a step back and take a week or two off of it when you're done with that project, and then come back to it and take a look and see if you really do want to play it or run it.
Exactly, because I think Shadow of the Demon Lord is kind of feeding into it because Shadow of the Demon Lord is awesome and amazing, and they just break down all of the complexities of D&D into things that are a lot easier and that to me make more sense. So like I listen to actual plays, like the RPG Academy's got a Dark Discovery actual play that they're putting out currently. And I listen to them like that sounds like a fun game I would love to play in. But it would be so much easier to do in Shadow of the Demon Lord because this, and that, and we're done.
Yeah. As I like D&D, I love the 3.5 edition, but I'm not one of those people who has to or wants to always play D&D. There's a lot of other games out there that I want to play, but they do a really good job with D&D. The RPG Academy is probably the best. Ow. I just bit my tongue. That sucked. Well, they do the best D&D actual plays. I don't know. Just sometimes it gets in the way. Yes, they do wonderful APs. I like listening to them. They're just the right mix of funny, some brief rules, and they keep it very brief. Yep. Brief.
Well, brief is what you say when you're trying not to bite your tongue.
Brief. Hello, all. My name is Brief. So, what other new shinies do you have?
Technically an old shiny, but reinvigorated into new shiny is Atomic Robo.
Atomic. I had a lot of fun when I played that.
Yeah, because Evil Hat just recently finished up their recent Kickstarter for Fate More Part 1. And Part 1, yeah. So Fate More Part 1 was about putting out stuff that they had in PDF and raising money to put them into print. And,
very cool.
One of the stretch goals was the Majestic 12 supplement for Atomic Robo. And Majestic 12 is like, if anyone's familiar with Stargate, it's the Trust. That's what I said. I'm like, okay, this Majestic 12 supplement with core Atomic Robo, this would be a great way to do Stargate in Fate.
I will play that game.
And so and one of the stretch goals for the Kickstarter that they hit and exceeded was taking the non intellectual property parts of Atomic Robo and making it Creative Commons and OGL. So
nice.
You can use like the mega stunts, the brainstorming, the more in-depth skill modes that's more fiddly than what's currently available in the Fate System Toolkit, and they're just stripping out all the Atomic Robo IP, and the mechanics are going to be available for use by third parties. And so I gotta do this because Fate and Stargate, it's such a pretty match.
It's a match made in heaven. God damn, I want to play that. That sounds...
See?
Yeah. because I played in the Atomic Robo game that RPG Gamer Dad did, and I
Yep.
thought the brainstorming, because I think we did it once,
Hmm.
it worked really well. I
Yeah,
was
it
like,
does.
this is kind of cool,
Yeah, Mike
you
Olson
know?
knows his stuff.
Yeah, it was like, all right, I see what's going on. We are creating, we're crafting and molding reality to
Yep.
fit what we think is happening, and I really dug it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Well, you got to feel like an ancient every now and again, right?
Hell yeah. Oh, speaking of ancients, I just had an epiphany the other day. The ancients are descended from Star Wars. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the Ori
Oh,
are
I
from
did.
a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and the ancients broke off from the Ori.
Yes.
So we're all descended from Skywalkers.
Interesting. We're these, no, we're not descended from, we're the second evolution of this form.
That's true.
But that is an interesting theory, and I like how it bridges the fandom.
As long as they don't make a crossover, because that'd be a little weird.
Yeah.
I like how my wife and I have been watching some of the newer Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff,
Hmm.
and they're putting in a lot more Star Wars references.
Oh, yeah.
And like, oh, yep, you can tell they've got Star Wars.
Yep.
That's funny.
The House of Mouse has it all.
Yes. So one of my new shinies, I don't have yet, but it's the First Contact X Core RPG that was kickstarted recently.
Okay.
I'm supposed to have the PDF before the end of February, but I haven't seen any updates
Well,
on
you've
whether it's
got
actually going to
4
happen.
days until
I
the end of
know.
February.
I know. I don't know what's actually going to happen, but we'll see. But it's an open D6 game. I've never played any of the D6 systems.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I pretty much cut my teeth on D6 Star Wars.
Well, I started gaming in 07, so
Oh, that's right.
D6 games were old when I
Old
started.
and out of print until
Yeah.
recently.
Mm-hmm. So my first game was 3.5, and then I jumped right into World of Darkness, New World of Darkness, not even Classic. So my gaming experience is pretty much with new games.
So this will be your first time trying your hand at D6.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic game that seems very similar to the XCOM strategy computer games, which
I've
I was
actually never played any of those.
oh man, they were so great. Oh, so great. I actually have the XCOM board game.
Nice.
I bought that this past summer, and it's pretty fantastic too. You can play it by yourself, and it is hard.
I like playing by myself.
All by myself. Green Day.
Yep. It was a 90s song, yeah?
Yeah, that was the secret song on the Dookie album.
Right.
Other new shinies. I don't know. I have so many, just so many new shinies, and they're mostly games that I've picked up over the years that I've never actually gotten to play, or I never actually got to scratch the itch of wanting to play them.
Yeah, those are always the worst. Something you've had on your shelf for a while, you just haven't been able to.
Yeah.
Like, I pick up a lot of games that I know I'm not going to run, but like for example, it's Star Wars, so I had to pick up Edge of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm probably not ever gonna. I tried to play a few games online and never panned out. So I mean,
That sucks.
it's a fun Star Wars game. The artwork is beautiful, but it's gonna sit on my shelf with the rest of my Star Wars books.
Yeah, I think that's a game that I could have a lot of fun with because the dice allow for interesting situations to be created, which I love.
Yeah.
I love Smallville, and Smallville does the same thing. And Fate can do the same thing with succeeding at cost and all that kind of stuff. So I love games that actually have support for that. But it's, I have Saga Edition Star Wars. and I like that edition of Star Wars.
I'm sorry.
And my son is the only one I play Star Wars with. And I talked to
Gotcha.
him about it. I was like, hey, we can get this new Star Wars game. Are you interested? Do you want to play that with me? And he was like, no, I like the game we have now. It's like, okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Then I'm not going to drop $50 on the book.
yeah, and $15 on the dice
Yes. Or
or
I was just going to spend $5 on the
bucks on.
app.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I like digital apps. That's actually another shiny for me. I like searching for digital apps that will help me in my gaming. Like City of Brass.
City of Brass. City of Brass is awesome.
Yeah, the ability to make custom character sheets and
Mhm.
then the functionality that's already built into those character sheets, even though it's not specifically built for your system, is great. I love it.
Yep.
Cannot sing their praises enough.
Please don't sing.
I already did.
Okay. Little songbird, you.
We've been singing a lot in my house because my son has been growing his music collection. And so he sings Maroon 5, Michael Jackson, and Justin Bieber.
Interesting.
Yep. He's got an eclectic collection.
It's okay. We've got eclectic parents.
True. Very true. So I don't know. This kind of turned into an all-out, hey, let's just talk about new shinies.
Yeah, it's kind of a tangential episode because we don't have anybody watching us live asking us questions.
Yeah. No one is.
A month or two since that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the past 3 episodes we've had an audience that interacted with us. I feel so lonely, guys. Come give us some love.
So let's kind of talk about some questions here. Do you think a new shiny is good or bad?
If handled right, it can be very good. Especially, like I said earlier, if you guys have a specific schedule and you know that something's going to come up, you can give it a try and it can be like, oh, hey, that was fun, but I'm totally ready to get back to the old game. Or if you play a new game and there's like a certain subsystem in there that is like, this is awesome, I need to incorporate this into my current game.
I was going to ask you exactly that. Do you think that is a good new shiny or a bad new shiny? Like, hey, I've got this house rule, or hey, this new rule came out in this supplement. Let's use it.
I was, that's, I mean, it's okay, I guess, to try out new things, but like new rules and new supplements should always come with a caveat. Yes, I'll allow it for 2 sessions, and then we'll talk about it and see how well it's playing with the group, see if anyone thinks it's overpowered or underpowered.
Mm-hmm.
So there should always be a yes, but when bringing new things in. Yes, we'll try it, but we'll talk about it after we've done it a few times and see how it works.
Yeah. I agree. That is the logical way of doing it. Lately, I don't agree with that feeling, though. Lately, I'm just like, we've got rules. We've got rules that work. Let's play the motherfucking game. Let's play it how we're playing it. But I understand the call of new rules and customizing the rules and making them work the way you want them to work. Like, I understand that because I've done the same thing. It just lately, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've got a lot of feelings about that I haven't been able to work through and parse yet. Yeah. But we've got a game. It works. Let's play it.
But sometimes, though, a new supplement will come out with new rules that is something that you guys have been pretty much doing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you more of a mechanical incentive to keep doing what you're doing, but gives you additional benefits. For example, in the Shadow of the Demon Lord game that I'm playing in, our dwarven priest is mad as a hatter. And so that's kind of the way that his player was playing the character. And then after the second session, the Tales or the Demon Lord's Companion came out, and in it had rules for uh, not disabilities, but like um, things that are disadvantageous for your character, flaws.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the flaws was madness. So, so this was a quirk of his character that he was playing out. That all of a sudden there were these mechanical rules available for it, and that actually gave him benefits for being crazy. One of the things that
Right.
he could do is he could gamble insanity, and so whenever he's making D20 roll, he can add a boon to the roll. But if he fails the roll, he gains like D3 insanity from it.
Interesting.
But
That'd be fun.
and the mechanical downside is that his insanity total can never be below half of his will, because normally your insanity goes from 0 to whatever your will is.
Okay.
But with the insanity detriment that he has is that his will or his insanity is always half. It can never be below half. So he's more likely to fall into a fugue of madness, which he did last game, almost to the detriment of the party. It landed him in jail, but we got him out.
Oh, those stories are great. I've always wanted to have a jailbreak story, and I can't think of a time where we've had a satisfying one.
Yeah, it was actually like right in the very beginning. So the mission that we were given was to save the burgomaster's girlfriend in a different town that is starting to be raided by beastmen. So he was like, he's in jail, but here's a letter to let him out because you're taking him away from here, and his craziness is going to be used against the enemies of the realm, so it's okay.
You know what I really don't like about new shinies?
I do not know.
They always make me feel like I can't catch up. Because there's always something new.
Yes, there is.
I want to feel like I have a good handle on something. But if I take all the time and effort to learn a new system and then someone introduces a new house rule, God, that pisses me off. If we're playing a new game and someone says, "Hey, I've got this new supplement," it's like, all right, now I have to learn that too.
Yeah, it's not as bad if you're a player, but if you're the GM, then you all of a sudden have to balance all these new rules that are coming out and whatnot, which can be quite annoying.
I think it also depends on what you go for in the role playing, in the RPGs. I think I lean more towards the G aspect, even though I love the role playing.
Right.
I want to have role playing. I want to have meaningful interactions. I want to have relationships and stuff. But I want, like, it's of paramount importance that I have a game to interact with. I want to roll the dice. I want to add numbers. I want to figure out how successful I am, and I want to figure out what that success cost me. I love the gaming, which is, I think, why I'm intrigued by Shadowrun, and I love Burning Wheel, because they've got a lot of that game aspect.
Right. And I guess from that perspective, anytime a supplement comes out with new rules, then you feel like you're not playing with all the rules to the game.
Yeah.
Which can get annoying.
Yep. It's always like, okay, and I got to figure out how this fits in. Does it fit in? And then if you decide not to use it, you're always thinking in situations where that might apply and say, man, I wish we were using that, even though we decided not to.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22.
It is.
Oh, excuse me. It's put in the supplement because they thought it would be great for these rules to be there to help people, but you decide not to use the supplement because it's such a corner case rule anyway. I mean, when are you going to have an underwater basket weaving contest to decide who lives and dies?
Apparently right now we're going to have an underwater basket weaving contest.
Exactly. But the one time it shows up, you're like,
yeah,
son of a gun. We have the rules right over there and we're not using them.
Exactly. So it's insane. this rush and crush to get the new thing, to use the new thing. At least it is in my experience. I don't know what everyone else feels about it. I don't know what you feel about it, but for me, it's always like, gotta get out there, gotta get the new thing, gotta read it, gotta incorporate it. It's crazy,
Right. And
but we all do it.
especially, yeah, but especially with like back when 3.5 was the edition of D&D, and there's so many people coming up with so many different source books,
God, yeah.
and it was, some of them were really good, some of them were really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And even fourth edition, they had a more restricted license than the OGL. They had the game system license, which had a lot of different restrictions and whatnot. And so I was like, okay, with all these restrictions, then the stuff that comes out is going to be better quality than the glut we saw with 3.5. No, like the first non-Wizards book that I picked up had an at-will spell that did as much damage as a daily. I was like, really? What is crap? I'm looking at him like, because the spell itself was only like d6 plus int mod damage, but with the way it interacted with 2 feats you could get at first level, all of a sudden it was 2d6 plus int mod plus 4.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damage even for 3.5.
Yeah, so I'm like, at first level, I'm one-shotting everybody. How is this an at-will power?
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, I'm probably blowing it out of proportion a little bit, but that was a long time ago. But I remember reading an at-will power, and I was like, this is way too powerful. What the hell were they thinking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I love 3.5. I'm actually in a 3.5 game right now. I'm running it, and I have this drive to go out there and find new stuff for it because people are still selling 3.5 material. I still buy a 3.5 book on occasion.
Oh, wow.
I'll pick up Libris Mortis, or I pick up Out for Blood, a vampire supplement that's supposed to be really good. You just go out there and you pick up random things and you read through it and you're like, hey, yeah, that's pretty cool. And you want to incorporate it in there, even though your game doesn't need it.
Yeah. You're playing a game set in what is it, Dark Sun.
Mm-hmm.
And vampires don't really make sense in Dark Sun because there's no place for them to hide, no shadows for them to make use of. It's like, oh, but this book has vampires. I have to use vampires.
Yeah. And I get that we get excited about that stuff. And I like getting excited about that stuff. I wish it didn't have to interrupt my enjoyment of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and part of it is self-inflicted because gamers as a whole are masochistic. We keep asking for more and asking for more and asking for more, but when they give us more, what the fuck, man? This is too much.
Yeah. That's got to be Sharkbone's new tagline, because gamers are masochistic.
It's true, we are. As a whole. Some people aren't, but as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I picked up Aces and Eights last fall because Gamers Playing keeps talking about it and it sounds fantastic. So I picked it up and I started reading it and I'm like, oh my God, I want to play this game. Combat looks like a pain in the ass, but I want to play it.
Yep, sometimes a little bit of crunch in the combat is good, but if that's the what is it, biplane fighter jet thing, or biplane fighter combat simulator game?
I don't know. No, Aces and Eights is Western.
Oh, okay.
Cowboys.
Okay. There's some Aces and something or other that's about biplanes shooting at each other.
Mm-hmm. There's an Apocalypse game about Russian female pilots. I forget what its name is, but it's supposed to be pretty good.
Yes.
Is that's not the one you're talking about, is it?
That's not the one I'm talking about, no.
Okay.
Because that one does not have complex combat rules at all.
Yeah. Apocalypse games don't really, or world games, I guess.
Speaking of Apocalypse World games, did you hear that Apocalypse World Second Edition Kickstarter?
I did. I heard about it.
It's $10 for the PDF. I couldn't help myself. Because I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, I probably want to, but I don't actually play any Apocalypse World games, and I doubt I'll actually get to play this one, so I'm not going to. And then someone had to share their most recent update on the way that they've changed fronts completely, and I read that. I'm like, okay, here's my $10.
Yeah, I almost got sucked into the Seventh Sea one because I played a first edition Seventh Sea game last year or the year before. I don't remember exactly. The world is fantastic. I love the world. I hated the mechanics.
I'm actually intrigued to see how the new mechanics work.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Have you heard any explanation of how the dice is gonna work?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
downloaded the quick start.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you roll all your dice and then you set them in totals of
10. And each one a raise. Obviously, someone playing some Savage Worlds. Then each group of 10 you spend to do something. Like I'm running across the ship as the water and waves are pelting me from left and right. Well, I allocate one success to successfully running across the ship. I also managed to, I don't know, do something else.
I swing across on one of the guy lines or whatever. I don't know.
Or as I'm running, I managed to untangle one of the sails so we can get underway.
I managed to pop the buttons on my shirt, and so my chest glistens, and I attract the attention of the Baroness or the Baron's daughter.
There you go.
I don't know.
Or like in combat, each raise allocated as one wound to the enemy.
Yeah. So that I almost got sucked into that one because it's fantastic, but I restrained myself. I will play that game eventually because my home group is buying into it. So eventually they'll run it and I'll play in it.
Okay, so you have someone local who's getting the book and is going to let you read it.
I don't know that I'm going to read it.
Oh, okay.
Because it'll be one of those things that I have to read, and then I'll be like, oh my God, I gotta have this. Yeah. And then I'll buy it, and then it'll become a new shiny, and I will go insane.
Pretty much.
Cool. I think we can call it there.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I think we've tangented quite enough for one evening.
Oh my God. We tangented the shit out of this episode.
Yes.
It'll be
new
fun
shiny
listening to.
Tangent Strikes Back.
The new shiny, the glinting. There like, oh, go. There's a new shiny. There's a new shiny.
Oh, look, squirrel.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you very much, Christopher. It's always a pleasure to be on the mics with you.
Of course it is. It's me.
I know. For those people who are popping in and out during the episode, thanks for joining us. If you're listening on the podcast feed, remember, you can join us live. We record these pod chatters live over Google Hangouts at 8 p.m. Pacific on the Thursdays that they are recorded. Watch Twitter, Google Plus, and the Facebook page for more information and for the exact scheduling. With that, I'll just say goodnight and join the frenzy.
Take it easy, y'all. And remember, always check for traps.